Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to finally be giving you my full honest review of Blossom and Roots Level 0 Space Adventure. Now, this is their science program for Level 0, or what you would consider kindergarten, essentially. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mama to a kindergartner and a second grader, ages 5 and 7 right now. They are summer babies, so they are very young for their grade levels. And I've been doing this program with both of them, and spoiler alert, it's going awesome. They are absolutely loving it. Now, this is not the first time that we have used Blossom and Root for our science. Last year we did Level 1, which is the Wonders of the Earth and Sky, which is their earth science, earth science, you get what I'm saying. And that went really well too. So I knew we were gonna like this, but this even had a little bit of an extra twist on it, which I will explain to you in a second what that's all about. First, I just kind of wanted to talk to you about what Blossom and Root is, if you're not familiar with that curriculum. It is a secular Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum. There's also a little bit of Waldorf inspiration there, you can tell with some of the projects. And we have just really loved Blossom and Root in general. They put out really good curriculum. She puts out PDF products. There's nothing that's physically printed. She doesn't sell like a bound book of any of her curriculum. However, I know she does partner with Hard Copy HQ to print out her curriculum guides. So you can absolutely use them. You can print them out like I do. Or she has a lot of clickable links in here for videos and other resources for extra rabbit trail following. So a lot of parents don't even print out the parent guide. They will just pull it up on their iPad or their computer. Now, we are kind of not a screen-free home, but we are a screen-limited. And for me personally, I cannot look at a screen. I need to have a physical paper copy in my hand. It hurts my eyes to look at screens too much. I feel kind of discombobulated. I am just a much better teacher and facilitator if I have it physically in my hand. Now, with this program and all of her science programs, they are 36-week programs. Now, she calls them wonders. They're 36 lessons or 36 wonders, which I love that she calls them that. Each comes with a parent guide, as well as, not in the kindergarten level, but the levels above will come with a lab guide as well. I think recently she's changed it so that all of her parent guide and lab guides are in one, rather than having to print off two different books and flip back and forth between two, which I think is great that she's making that change. A lot of parents ask for that. And then they also will come with a science notebook for your child. So this you will want to have printed, whether you do it at home or you do it through Hard Copy HQ or some other printing company. I know there's a lot out there that you can use. So some of the things I love about Blossom and Root overall is that she provides not only your basic spines, right, the books that you're going to be working through the entire year, but she also offers a slew of additional book resources. That's that Charlotte Mason literature inspired type bit there, right? Lots of living books, really good reference books as well. On top of that, she is really big on providing video links. Now, I know Miss Charlotte Mason was born and lived in a time when TV, YouTube did not exist in the 1800s, but I would imagine that if she lived in today's day, she would 100% approve of good quality videos that give visualization to children, especially when you're talking about science, right? Being able to physically see the change that we're talking about. And then the other thing that I think she does really well is she provides a lot of additional options for activities, or in the older years, experiments. Now, this program is, some people consider it open and go, some people don't. The reason being, and there's so much, back and forth on what people consider it as, is because she provides so much so that you can choose and customize it as you see fit. She gives you her suggestion on how she would run a schedule of it, but then she leaves it up to you at the end of the day, which I think because she leaves it a little bit up to you, that's where people are like, well, that's not open and go. I don't know what to do then. So if you're somebody who wants a curriculum to tell you to do this on this day, that on that day, to say this line, and then this is probably what your kid's gonna say, scripted, this is not the program for you. And don't get me wrong, I love some programs like that depending on what the need is or the subject, but I will tell you, I really like the flexibility. My family and I, we don't do anything as prescribed when it comes to curriculum. So the fact that there is a lot of flexibility to mold this to my kiddos and my learning style, as well as go down those rabbit holes of the things that are really interesting to us, that is huge. And that's probably why I will continue to stay with Blossom and Root when it comes to science for a good while now. So those are kind of like high level things I think that are important to talk about when it comes to this program. So one thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to review the spines. Now, I did not go ahead and get all the suggested spines. I'll flip the camera around at a certain point and show you all of them, but I'll show you the ones that we got and give you my opinion on them. So as a reminder, I did this with a kindergartner and a second grader. My second grader, by the way, has absolutely enjoyed this and learned so much from this program. She has not been bored because a lot of people are like, oh, it's level 0. That's too young for my kiddo. It's really not, because again, it's a little bit more open and for flexibility and customization. You can bring in more advanced books for your older learner, or you can keep it really low level if you're just working with a kindergartner. Just stick to those picture books and the narratives and the fun stuff, right? So when looking at the spines, I think ones that are really good for younger learners are Professor Astrocat's Frontiers of Space. She provides another suggestion when we flip the camera around, I'll point that out, that she says is actually for even a younger kiddo. I didn't look inside that one. I didn't go even for that because I knew I'd be working with a kindergartner and a second grader. And my kindergartner is used to looking at what I would consider more advanced books just because of her older sister. It's just that second kid thing, right? But this has a lot of great infographics. It's a lot of bright colors, so it keeps the younger kiddos engaged. But for those older kids, it has a lot of good factoids in here. And there's a little bit of a story, but not quite to it. But they touch upon so much in here about space. And also my girls really like cats, which is really sad because I'm allergic, so we only have dogs. As you can see, I got a husky back there. So the fact that this is Professor Astrocat's cat, that really helped keep them engaged. The other thing that I think is fantastic for younger learners is the DK Find Out Solar System book. Honestly, with those two books, we would have been set. Like, I didn't have to get the other two that I got for the spines. It's more high level info. It's not going too much in the weeds, which might be a little like, too much for a kindergartner. It's got good pictures, a lot of them realistic, not the cartoon ones. So this kind of brings it more into the reality of space. But there's like a lot of good stuff in here. Like, this is the first one I go to, and then we do this one normally whenever we're doing a lesson. Now, the other two spines that I got that I think are really good books, but these are more for your advanced learners, are DK Space ! We have the animal one of this, and we also have Earth, like the exclamation point series. I think these are wonderful reference books, and I think even if you have a kindergartner, go ahead and get this because they'll reference this all the way till they go to college. You know, these are not bad books to invest in, but the pictures are beautiful, right? But as you can see, the information is a little bit more. It's a little bit more high level. It's getting a little bit more advanced in the terminology they're using. But we still use this. What I do with this one though, is I generally lay it open to like the section that we're gonna be talking about for the lesson on the table. And if they wanna look at it, great. Mostly if my older daughter says, hey, can we talk a little bit more about this? I'll read her the information, and that's good for her to digest. But even for her, even a 7, almost gonna be 8 years old, it's still a little bit too high level, I would say, but I don't regret having this and using this as a resource reference. And then the other book we got from the Spine Suggestions was, these are just such pretty ones, The Mysteries of the Universe. We also have the animal version of this, and I will be getting probably the dinosaur and some other ones. I just think these are beautiful books. These are what I would almost consider coffee table books. Again, like the Space Exclamation series, what I did was I would just open it to the page of what we'd be talking about that day and leave it on the table. And again, if they wanted to look through it, I just let them thumb through it. If they have questions, we read the information. It's really beautiful pictures, and it has a lot of good high level information for them. But it's just so pretty. So those are the 4 spines we got out of all the suggested spines, because there were a few more she suggested, but she would say, hey, this one's good for older learners, younger learners. Again, she gives you a lot of options, and those are the 4 we went with, and I'm very pleased with them. Now, before I flip the camera around and we go through the parent guide, I just wanted to share with you real quick what the student guide looks like. So here's the cover. I think she doesn't color this in because it's like if your kid wants to color it in. I didn't really think about that until after I laminated it, and I was like, meh, it's okay. But I've seen other people on the Facebook group have your kiddo color that in if they want to. This book belongs to, I had her write her name down at least before I laminated it. And then, so this is how each page is, because it's a captain's log. So this is an example. She shows you how to fill out the student's log every day. I'll explain that in a second. And again, I'll probably show you a better look at this if we flip it around. So here is lesson 1, or week 1, excuse me, because again, you're going on a journey. That's why you have a captain's log. I'll give you a little more details in a second, but it helps especially for the younger learners learning their calendar. So you have your months, day. My second grader just like immediately goes, like fills all this out. It's not really that big of a deal to her because she knows her calendar. But for my youngest, this is perfect, my kindergartner. And then what they do is they draw a picture. Sometimes my oldest would write something in here because she can, but again, it's geared towards kindergartners. So we basically wrote what the mission was going to be like that we have been told that we are going on. And so she drew a picture of that. Sorry, my kids are running around and playing. So maybe I should tell you what the premise of the curriculum is. So you are embarking on a 36-week adventure to a unknown planet to engage with an alien named Zula. So in the first week, you're introduced to mission control because they write you a letter for each lesson, and the fact that this alien Zula, who is a kid on planet, I cannot remember, it's L something or another, they are doing a project basically on Earth, and they have enlisted your learner to help them learn all about the solar system and our Earth and how we are and like what we need to eat and all that stuff, which I think is a fantastic way of approaching space for a young elementary student. You're not getting into let's memorize all the planets and all that such and like just do rote memorization. It's making it this fantastical journey, and I think that engages them more. Even my second grader, she loves it. It's all pretend and stuff like that. She thinks it's fantastic. And it's making them remember the information better, I think, rather than if we were just reading through books and that's it. We're making a journey in a, I don't know, it's almost like their own living narrative out of it. Very Charlotte Mason. But so that's why each day the kids will fill out their captain's log because it's part of their space program. They're going on an adventure. Every day they're going to fill out the, what happened that day in their journey, and it's just, I think it's so well thought out. So I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna flip the camera around so you can see inside of one of the lessons in the front part of this. Of course, I'm not gonna really go over anything that isn't in her online sample, obviously as a courtesy to her, but also just for copyright reasons. I just wanna make sure I respect that. But I'll talk through as I'm showing you everything, like what we liked about it, how we do it, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you if you're looking at this program for your kiddos. All right, y'all, hopefully the lighting is okay in here. I had to kind of close my blinds because the sun's coming in and it's setting for the day, so it would get a little squirrely if I left the blinds open for y'all. But here is the My Great Space Adventure Parent Guide. Inside, you will see that it's meant for kindergarten and early elementary students. She does a little intro. She does this in all of her curriculum where she talks about the options for scheduling the curriculum. curriculum. Again, like I said, she keeps it pretty open for you guys, but she always gives suggestions to help guide you. You could do a traditional week schedule, 36-week schedule, where you do one wonder a week. You could do that on one day. You could spread out all the stuff over the entire week for a 4 or 5 day week. It's entirely up to you. She also offers the opportunity to do it as a unit study, do a condensed schedule, get it done in 4 to 6 weeks by doing 2 lessons or 2 wonders per week, or even more than that, right? So it's completely up to you. You could treat it as a unit study, do it more high level, or you could really dig in and do a full 36-week schedule. We schedule it 1 day per week over 36 weeks. Now, I think next year when we do level 2, which is, I guess, meant for grade 2 if you're trying to follow it that way, we are probably going to do 1 wonder a week, but we're going to spread it over a couple days because we're doing more of a Charlotte Mason traditional schedule where we're having shorter lessons. If we do 1 lesson in a sitting, depending on how far we dig in, if it's something they really want to go down the rabbit hole with, it could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. You know, if they're like, this is so much fun and we want to find more videos and we want to look at more books, we're more on that hour side. If we follow it as prescribed, we're more on that 30-minute side. So here's where she talks a little bit more in depth about kind of more of a scope and sequence. She's talking about bringing math and science to life, how they do that in this program. Should I add an additional math curriculum? Absolutely. If you use her full bundles for the year, like if you get the full first grade bundle, you should still add a math program to that because she doesn't have a full math program in any of her levels. And then again, more additional information on how to use this curriculum. So she explains the captain's log. Let me bring this school or the student notebook over. So this is where she talks about how to use the captain's log. So here's a better look at it, probably not me holding it up. She's giving you an example here. And then here's what the actual captain's log would look like. How my 7-year-old filled out her first week. They have you draw in here something that she learned from the week's lesson. And then in this one, she had an additional activity, which was filling out an astronaut profile. I love her face. But it's so funny. I do not have any favorites. That is not true. So this is how my 7-year-old filled out her captain's log. My 5-year-old did pretty much the same thing. And then just to show you one more example of how the captain's log went. So week 8, we were talking about gravity. We haven't left on our adventure yet to Zula because we're learning about what's going to happen in space when we're living in space on our journey to Zula. So this was about gravity. So this was my 7-year-old. I didn't correct any of her spelling because that's not what I was concerned about. I wanted her to tell me what she learned. So she's talking about gravity, the force pulling down the object to Earth. And then there was matching pairs. This was more for my kindergartner, but my 2nd grader just liked the fact that she was getting to color in and create like matching looking items. Okay, so then going over to this side, she talks about this in every single one of her curriculums. Permission to go off grid. That is something Christina, the creator of this curriculum, is really big on, and I absolutely love that. She's prescribes to the philosophy that if your child's really into something, don't stop them. Don't be like, well, wait, we have to go on and do this activity. Stop where they are, sit down with them, and figure out how you can dig into that a little bit further. She calls it following the rabbit trails. Yeah, see, follow those rabbit trails. And I think that's absolutely wonderful because Charlotte Mason, as well as Waldorf, especially for younger elementary, are big on play, learning through play. And so not just playing, but following interest if it pertains to the information here. Why not dig in and get more resources? Stop and go to the library and get more books if you want to. Now here is the contents of what will be learned over the year if you do this for a full 36-week year. Now I just realized I told you she calls them wonders. She calls them wonders in her other levels. I realize she probably calls them weeks here because it is a journey that you are going on over a specific set of time. So, week 1 in the spaceship on the way to Zula, it's that kind of thing. But after level 0, she calls them wonders, just so you know. It's a syntax thing, so just not really anything, major there, but I just thought I'd clarify. So as you can see, the first couple of weeks are learning about what you are about to do. You know, what's going to happen in space, staying alive. You're going to build a spacecraft, charting the course. And then you, of course, then blast off in week 11. You're passing through the atmosphere, past the sun, past all these other planets. You're learning all about them. You go around the International Space Station, et cetera, et cetera. And then you will get to Target Found Mystery Planet. So you're meeting with Zula at that point, and then you hit a magic button that takes you all the way back home. So you don't have to go back all through this to get home. Here, she will provide you a book list of highly recommended books. So here, the highly recommended ones these are your spines. And this is where she will tell you, hey, like, appropriate amount of information for a kindergarten level. If they want a very light option, she gives you as much information as you can so you can make an educated guess on which spines to get for your kiddo. And then over here, she will give you then a huge list of supplemental optional books and she'll tell you which week they all fall in. So we won't go into that. Now, she'll also give you a list of what supplies you will need for each week. So if you're somebody who likes to pre-prep and get a bunch of supplies for the whole year or the next 6 weeks, you can then just reference this supply list right here. And again, which week you get which supply. And I just love how she lays it all out like that for you. It makes it so easy. So let's look at week 1. So every week starts off with a letter from Mission Control. Today's letter is about the mission. Good morning, Captain. So I would flip this over and I'd be like, good morning, Captains, because I have 2 girls, and then I would read through it and then I would say, signing off, Mission Control. And then we'd answer any questions. Sometimes they tell you can you do this for us, blah, blah, blah. Now it's planet L21 that Zula is from. So you get introduced to Zula, the mission, what you're going to be doing for the next 36 weeks. And then after that, what she does, and I love this, she does this in all of her science programs. She calls them, what are they called? She calls them something else in her other program where it's the high level things that she wants you to take away. Like at bare minimum, these are the things that you should discuss with your kid and take away from the learning lesson. She even says, like in her other programs and in this one, you don't need to buy anything. You could just do this as is. As long as you're going over the basic level items at the top that she tells you about, then you're doing exactly what you need to do for the program. Everything else is gravy, I guess, is the best way to explain it. So what we do is after I read the letter from Mission Control, then we go over the high level topics that we're going to be discussing, what we want to get across, in this lesson. And then from there, we go down to our spines. So I'll, read the pages from the spines that we have. We'll review those information, which is normally reinforcing this topic and these details that we've just learned about. Then from there, if we get any optional If we get any optional supplemental books from the library for that week, we'll read those. Then we watch the videos. Then we will do an optional activity if it makes sense or if that's something we want to do that day. And then we will do our captain's log, fill out that student notebook. Now, since I showed you week 8 in the student notebook, I thought I'd just share that with you here. So again, letter from Mission Control, preparing for life at zero gravity. You have your message from Mission Control. You read that off. We're talking about what it is like to be an astronaut in space, focusing on what is gravity. And she gives you a lot of good little tidbits here. She'll always give you little notes about extra things, maybe like, please note, you will be spending a good amount of time learning about life on the International Space Station during week 17. So basically you don't have to cover that topic as much. In this one, I started highlighting after that first week. I started highlighting I got this one from the library. I only got one this week. These are the ones that we're going to go over from our spines. And then I always do all the videos. The girls just love the videos because she normally picks out really good ones. They love SciShow Kids specifically from YouTube. And then what we've been doing consistently from the activities is every time we go through one of the planets or a moon, we'll make a construction paper one, and at the end of it we're going to string them all together, and each girl will have their own paper solar system, and I think that'll be great. Now, if you didn't print this guide out, this link would be clickable. She also has it in her files that you get for the PDFs, just a file laid out by week of each clickable link. So you can just pull that file up and click on that. So since I'm somebody who prints the guide out, what I will do is I will use my iPad and I'll pull up that file that's just a list of all the clickable links by week and which ones they are. And I'll just pull that up and click that in my iPad. Then the video will start playing and then I can show it to them that way. So that's pretty much it for the program. We have really thoroughly enjoyed it. The girls have learned so much about space, and even so much so that my oldest told me she wants to be a geologist, but she wants to be an astronaut who's a geologist because she wants to go study rocks on Mars. And literally, I almost wanted to cry happy tears because something like this made her so excited about a prospective career. Oh my gosh, she's very passionate about it. And my youngest is loving it too. She just said she wants to be a paleontologist when she gets older, so that's fine. She likes dinosaurs. We're really into Jurassic Park right now, but I hope that was helpful. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed that look into Blossom and Roots, the Great Space Adventure. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned, leave those down in the comments. You know, I'm always happy to answer y'all's questions down there and chit chat with you guys. If you are new to my channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you like learning about homeschooling and you have younger learners, that's us. We're taking you along for the ride, and hopefully you guys are learning some things from us. I don't know, or if at least it's entertaining for you guys, I hope. And if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely helps us out. And we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye, y'all.